Of all the automatics, 45 ACP is without a doubt the easiest to reload. So today I'm going to do that, and I have 50 rounds I'm going to reload, and I start by inventorying everything. 50 cases. I have 50 bullets. I'm going to be using Hornady 45 caliber 185 grain XTP. I'm going to use that up because really I shoot 230 grain, so I'm using up the 185s that I have. So I have my primers all counted out. 50 primers, 50 cases, 50 bullets. So when I'm not shooting 230 grain lead, there's one right here. Just my cheap bullets. When I'm shooting what I consider premium bullets, not premium ammunition, this would be like premium ammunition, some federal. I like to use nickel cases. I retrieve most of them. I lose a few, big deal. So get my cases and I'll start priming them. So the cases have been deprimed and cleaned. The first thing I do after I run them through the resizing / depriming die is I expand them. So I'll run it through the expanding die, and I'll check to make sure that it fits in there. See how it starts, but it doesn't go all the way in. You really don't want to flare these things, you want to expand them. But the reason I expand them first is because I look for cracks. And when it's expanded, if there's a crack in the case, that'll separate out and I can see it better. Whereas if I prime it and then expand it, now I've got a primer in a bad case. So expanding the case to accept the bullet is first. Okay, we're expanded and primed, ready to accept powder. And I said I chose 4756. The powders are unbelievable. I looked through all my reloading books and there was 42 different powder listings. And if you just narrow it down, that was 185 grain. And if you narrow it down to the XTP, there's 22 loads. Unbelievable. So your powder choices are amazing. So I'm going for about 1,000 feet per second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load by volume. I'm just going to scoop it up, put it in. Scoop it up, put it in. 50 times. If anything is suspicious, I will dump it out and do it again. Now, for rifle, I can see being really careful and getting the exact same thing over and over again. Not so much for hunting, but for target practicing or maybe some competition shooting. But for handguns, that little bit is not going to make any bit of difference unless you're getting to the max. And there's really no reason to go to the max. I mean, they'll shoot far fairly accurately, but I mean, come on, are you really going any further than 50 yards even at the range? So you don't really need to pump them up. All of the manufacturers load by volume, and the reason they do that, where am I at here? The reason they do that is because they can get the bullet to sit on top of the powder. Very little air gap. So with very little experimentation, you can find a powder that will fill up the case to the bottom of the bullet you're using and deliver some accuracy that you like in your particular gun. It's really not that much work to it. You just kind of start with some randomly selected powders. I mean, take Hornady's recommendations, you know, which which powders were accurate in their test gun, and start from there. See what you like. You know, there's different burn rates. I mean, you can get into it as much as you want, and heavy detail if you like. So, oops. I know I expanded these because I tested them all. See? So, again, no manufacturer on the planet measures each charge for factory ammo. I've not talked to a single person who reloads 45 ACP that trims their cases. Every case I measured has been correct. They really don't expand, and that's because they index on the front side and they're pulled out by the back side. So, you know, they puff out a little bit, but it's very open-ended, where on a rifle, you know, it's basically held in place. Next is bullet seating. I used some dummies to set it up with. Let's see what I have here. So I'm looking for 1, 2, 3, and I have 1.2, 2. I can go another 10 mils, I guess. So I'm very happy with that. I noticed on the factory rounds that they pretty much seated the whole bearing surface into the casing. Now I have measured down to see where the powder is and then seated it to that depth before and made sure it wasn't over my maximum. But for this, I'm going to leave it just like it is. One nice thing about 45 ACP, it's truly an American round. Pretty much all the brass you come across, it's good, high quality brass made in America. Also, another nice thing about the 45 is there is little or no crimp. If you read all of your reloading books, they're going to say little or no crimp. So what I'm doing here is this particular die is a crimping die, but it also resizes it, makes sure if there's any bulges in there that it takes it out. It's kind of like a cartridge gauge, if you will. So I'm not really crimping it, maybe touching it slightly, but let's see what I have here. .71, right on the money. You check a factory round, see if it's not 4.71 right there at the neck. See, it indexes on this little lip right here, so you need that to catch. You don't want to flatten it out, squish it out so it jams up in there, then the extractor is going to have trouble pulling it back out, especially after it puffs up. So little or no crimp. That makes it very, very easy to reload. So 45 ACP. Very, very nice. So let's look at my component costs. And it's just really a fine looking bullet. So I paid basically 20 cents for the bullet. Say anywhere from 19 to 22 cents for the bullet. The case I picked up on the range, I didn't pay for it, but if you go to Starlight and get some brass, not nickel plated, that's more expensive, but if you get brass, that's about 6 cents. Primers, 3 cents, and I used about 3 cents of powder, so it's bullet cost plus 12 cents. That'll give me 32 cents a round. That's $16 right here if I would have in component costs. And it's only $13 when I reuse the brass and take that 6 cents away the second time, which will give me, let's see, 26 cents a round. So we're getting real close. It's kind of my goal, 25 cents a round. It's amazing to think that you're throwing a quarter down range every time you pull the trigger. 2 bits, 2 bits, 2 bits. Well, and then if you buy it, you know, half dollar, half dollar, half dollar. What is it, like 45 cents for a 45 now? So you can pick up a box of Hornady bullets anywhere from round up to $19, say $19 to $22, depending on where you get it from. If it's on sale, if you buy it local or pay shipping and handling. Local is a sales tax. So, I don't know, about 20 cents a round. And for the 45s, I notice they're all pretty much the same, whether it's 230 grain or 185, they're all pretty much the same price. So, figure about 20 cents each. Primers, well, I got a special, but let's just say they're 3 cents each. The casings, if you go to Starlight Brass, maybe about 7 cents each. Now the nickel plated, they're going to be more. I just picked these up at the range. I didn't pay anything for them. It doesn't matter. Powder is also very inexpensive. I'm sorry. That's about, you know, 2-3 cents a shot. So it's mostly the bullet you're paying for, and the cases. If you're a brass rat picking up at the range, you collect some over time, or send Starline Brass $67 and you'll get 1,000 delivered to your door. And then you can just load up your magazine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, that's right, a 10 round magazine from Ruger. Love it, gotta love it. So anyway, have fun at the range. I know I will.